All right, here we go, top of the hour. Thank you so much for being with me on this Friday. I'm Brooke Baldwin. Let's begin with these reports. We're just now getting that one of the world's most wanted terrorists has just been killed. His name is Izzat Ibrahim al-Duri, but to the U.S. troops serving during the 2003 invasion of Iraq, he was known as the King of Clubs. Remember these cards? His depiction in that deck of playing cards used to identify key figures in Saddam Hussein's regime. And al-Duri was considered one of the worst. He was Saddam's right-hand man. And after the regime toppled, al-Duri went into hiding. But today, seems he was found and killed by Iraqi security forces. Joining me now here in New York, Atika Schubert, CNN correspondent, and with us, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Mann, retired U.S. Army Forces and military advisor. So wonderful to have both of you here with me. Atika, first to you. How the heck did they find him?
Well, it appears, according to Iraqi sources, that this was what they call a surprise operation conducted by Iraqi security forces and a Shia militia. They operated it somewhere between Tikrit and Kirkuk. And now they haven't said who else was killed in this raid, but they have identified Izzat Ibrahim al-Duri, although they say they can't be 100% sure until DNA tests have been conducted. We have reports now that his body has been brought to Baghdad, and they're saying they should get results within 48 hours.
Do we know what he's been up to these last however many years to either of you? Do you know?
You know, he's a very elusive figure and quite a legendary figure because of his ranking in the Ba'athist regime. And he would only pop up occasionally. So, you know, you might see an audio recording from him or rumors that he was in Syria or even Qatar. But very rarely was he seen. And that's why he had this sort of mythical, almost legendary reputation.
What about his relationship? And I know you have some reporting on this, Colonel. I don't know how much in terms of ISIS, because I know, according to you, Atika, that he obviously was not a fan of the Iraqi government, the ISIS. That is the enemy of ISIS, the Iraqi government. They want to spread this notion of a caliphate. Do we know if not only with this, number two of Saddam Hussein, but other members of these deck of cards, were they affiliated with ISIS? Do you know?
Well, I think in some of these cases, it's like you were saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that kind of there's a common bond in that sense that they're facing the same enemy. But as far as like ideologically committed to that, I haven't certainly seen that degree of ideological commitment like you see from al-Baghdadi,
right,
for example. And I think the guys that were hunting these deck of cards on the battlefield, they pulled something like 42 of them off of the battlefield, so they got a bunch of them removed. But today, I think it's a whole new level of strategic threat we're facing, and I'm not completely convinced this guy's strategic threat we once thought he was.
Really? With al-Duri, what more as far as he didn't actually believe that this caliphate would be what ISIS is still hoping, correct?
No, whatever alliance there might have been between al-Duri's fighters and ISIS, it was purely one of convenience. Al-Duri really wanted to see a return to the sort of Ba'athist, Sunni-led regime that was such as it was under Saddam Hussein. ISIS wants an Islamic caliphate. They might have worked together to try and overthrow the current Shia-dominated government, but that was the end of it. And even in the last few months and weeks, there were very serious signs of strain in that relationship. Reports that maybe al-Duri was even calling for airstrikes against ISIS. So this is constantly shifting allegiances and alliances there, but it just looks like the Iraqi security forces managed to get al-Duri at this time.
Finally to you, what about, you mentioned the deck of cards, and maybe he wasn't the key player or as strong as he once was. What about these other faces from this famous deck of cards? Where are they now?
Well, a lot of the operational security laying low and fomenting instability probably locally, but certainly at the nonprofit I work, Stability Institute, we haven't seen any indications that these guys are, have global aspirations or closely affiliated with ISIS. In fact, I would even caution that the removal of this guy from the battlefield, we have to be careful.
Why?
That we think that it's not necessarily a strategic blow to ISIS and the narrative that they're putting out right now. I mean, if you look at what they're doing globally, they're bringing a lot of people to their cause. They're
they being ISIS.
That's right.
Right.
No, Al-Qaeda too, but ISIS is gaining a lot of ground, and just because we remove this guy off the battlefield, I'm not sure it dents them that much. I think they're still a very, very capable global force that we've got to keep our eye on despite his removal.
Okay. Atika Schubert and Scott Mann, thank you both very much. I appreciate it. Now